A dolphin once pushed a drowning dog toward shore. In another case, a group of dolphins surrounded a swimmer for nearly an hour while a great white shark circled nearby. There are reports of dolphins guiding lost whales back into deeper water. Others describe dolphins lifting injured companions to the surface so they can breathe. Some accounts go back thousands of years. Ancient Greek sailors told stories about dolphins rescuing people from the sea long before modern science existed. Most people hear stories like these and arrive at the same conclusion. Dolphins are friendly. It sounds reasonable. After all, dolphins smile, they play, they seem curious about humans. Compared to many wild animals, they often appear unusually interested in interaction rather than avoidance. But scientists who study dolphin behavior have spent decades trying to answer a surprisingly difficult question. Are dolphins actually trying to help, or are we misunderstanding what we're seeing? Because the deeper researchers looked into these encounters, the stranger the answer became. To understand why, it helps to start with what a dolphin is. From a distance, dolphins look effortless. They glide through the water with almost no visible effort. They leap, spin, and surf waves for what appears to be enjoyment. But beneath that appearance is one of the most sophisticated nervous systems in the animal kingdom. Bottlenose dolphins possess some of the largest brains relative to body size among non-human animals. Their brains contain highly developed regions associated with problem-solving, social processing, and complex communication. For decades, researchers focused on a simple possibility. Maybe dolphins help because they are intelligent. The problem is that intelligence alone doesn't explain the behavior. Octopuses are intelligent, crows are intelligent, chimpanzees are intelligent. Yet helping completely different species without an obvious reward is relatively uncommon. Something else seemed to be happening. Scientists began noticing a pattern. Many dolphin rescue stories involve animals in distress at the surface. An exhausted swimmer, a struggling seal, an injured whale calf, another dolphin unable to breathe properly. That detail matters because breathing changes everything for a dolphin. Unlike fish, dolphins do not breathe automatically. Every breath is a conscious action. They must surface intentionally. If they fail to do so, they drown. This creates a unique biological reality. A dolphin understands in a direct physical way what it means to struggle for air. Researchers have suggested that behaviors appearing altruistic may partially emerge from neural systems designed to respond to respiratory distress within their own social group. In simpler terms, dolphins may be strongly programmed to react when something near them appears unable to reach the surface. But that explanation only goes so far, because dolphins don't reserve these responses for other dolphins. They sometimes direct them toward entirely different species. One of the most famous cases occurred in New Zealand in 2004. A group of lifeguards and swimmers found themselves surrounded by bottlenose dolphins. At first, the behavior seemed unusual. The dolphins formed a tight circle around the humans and repeatedly slapped the water with their tails. The swimmers soon discovered why. A great white shark was nearby. For roughly 40 minutes, the dolphins maintained their formation between the shark and the people. Eventually, the shark left. The dolphins departed shortly afterward. Stories like this capture public attention because they feel intentional. It is difficult to watch a group of animals place themselves between danger and vulnerability without assigning meaning to it. Scientists approach these events more cautiously. Not because they doubt the observations, because behavior can have multiple explanations. One possibility is that dolphins respond to threats in a generalized way. When a predator enters an area, dolphins may engage protective behaviors designed for members of their own pod. Humans caught inside that response become accidental beneficiaries. The dolphins may not be protecting people specifically. They may simply be responding to danger. Yet even this explanation leaves questions unanswered. Why remain so close? Why repeatedly return? Why direct attention toward the vulnerable individual? Researchers studying dolphin societies encountered another clue. Dolphins are intensely social animals. A dolphin rarely survives alone for long. Their world depends on cooperation. They hunt together, defend one another, share information, care for injured companions. Some populations even possess unique hunting techniques passed culturally from one generation to the next. In certain regions of Australia, Dolphins teach offspring to use marine sponges as protective tools while searching the seafloor for food. Knowledge travels through families. Traditions exist. Behavior spreads socially. For a long time, scientists believed culture belonged exclusively to humans. Then dolphins complicated that assumption. Again and again and again. The more researchers observed them, the harder it became to view dolphin minds as simple collections of instinct. In 2001, researchers conducting mirror recognition experiments found evidence that bottlenose dolphins could recognize their own reflections. This ability is exceptionally rare. Humans develop it. Great apes demonstrate it. Elephants show signs of it. Some birds appear capable of it. Most animals do not. Self-recognition does not automatically create empathy, but it suggests a level of self-awareness that changes how scientists think about social cognition. A creature capable of understanding itself may also process the experiences of others differently. This brings researchers to one of the most controversial explanations: empathy. The word sounds straightforward. Scientifically, it isn't. Human empathy involves multiple processes: recognizing another individual's state, predicting what they may feel, sometimes sharing aspects of that emotional experience. Determining whether dolphins experience anything comparable remains extraordinarily difficult. Scientists cannot ask a dolphin what it feels. They can only observe behavior, and some behaviors are difficult to ignore. Dolphins have been documented supporting injured pod members at the surface for extended periods, sometimes for hours. The healthy individuals receive no immediate reward. The effort consumes energy, yet they continue. The behavior resembles caregiving. When similar actions appear directed toward other species, researchers naturally become interested, not convinced, interested, because extraordinary conclusions require extraordinary evidence. There is another possibility: curiosity. Dolphins are among the most exploratory animals ever studied. They investigate unfamiliar objects, novel sounds, unusual situations, even humans. What appears to us as assistance may occasionally begin as investigation. A struggling animal behaves differently, moves differently, creates unusual acoustic signals. A dolphin approaches to examine the disturbance. Its actions inadvertently improve the situation. The animal survives. Observers interpret the outcome as rescue. Sometimes that may be exactly what happened, but not always. Because some cases extend far beyond accidental assistance. Researchers have documented dolphins repeatedly lifting weakened animals toward the surface, returning after separation, adjusting position as conditions change. These behaviors suggest responsiveness rather than coincidence. The challenge is determining what that responsiveness means. Perhaps the most fascinating possibility involves something called emotional contagion. Many social species possess mechanisms that allow one individual's distress to influence others nearby. Fear spreads, alarm spreads, attention spreads. The group responds together. In highly social animals, these systems become powerful tools for survival. A dolphin detecting signs of distress may experience a strong impulse to act, regardless of species identity. The response evolved for pod members, but evolution does not always build perfect boundaries. The system activates. The recipient happens to be something else: a seal, a whale, a dog, a human. The behavior remains the same. If this explanation is correct, dolphin rescues reveal something profound. Not that dolphins are miniature humans swimming through the ocean, but that complex social minds may naturally generate behaviors that appear compassionate across species boundaries. The implications extend beyond dolphins. For much of history, humans viewed intelligence as a ladder. Animals occupied lower steps. Humans stood at the top. Modern research increasingly paints a different picture. Intelligence appears less like a ladder and more like a landscape. Different species solve different problems. Different environments produce different forms of cognition. Dolphins evolved in a three-dimensional world of sound and movement, unlike anything humans experience. Their intelligence followed a different path, yet occasionally, that path seems to intersect with ours. A swimmer in danger, a shark nearby, a pod of dolphins arriving unexpectedly, an injured animal struggling to breathe, a healthy dolphin refusing to leave its side. Moments like these create an uncomfortable scientific problem. The observations are real, the meaning remains uncertain, and uncertainty is often where the most interesting questions live. So why do dolphins help other species? The honest answer is that nobody knows with complete confidence. The evidence suggests several possibilities: protective instincts, social caregiving systems, curiosity, emotional contagion, some combination of all four. What researchers can say is that dolphins repeatedly perform behaviors that reduce risk for vulnerable individuals, including members of entirely different species. Those actions are measurable, observable, documented. What remains beyond measurement is the experience behind them, what it feels like to be a dolphin approaching a struggling swimmer, whether the animal understands suffering in any recognizable way, whether it recognizes vulnerability, whether it simply responds to patterns evolution taught it to notice, or whether something more complicated is happening beneath the surface. The ocean rarely gives direct answers. Most of what happens there disappears beneath the water before anyone can fully understand it. But every so often, a dolphin rises beside another creature in trouble and behaves in a way that challenges our assumptions. Not because it proves dolphins think like humans, but because it reminds us that intelligence may be far stranger than we imagined. Perhaps the most remarkable part of these stories is not that dolphins help. It is that after decades of research, we still cannot fully explain why. And sometimes the questions that remain unanswered tell us more than the answers ever could.